What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show here on a Friday night. The Blazers lose by 50. They continue their losing ways. They lose their 10th straight, and they have now clinched the 6th best odds for the draft lottery. Eric is back with a new mic. Okay, you'll see it at the bottom of the screen there. Eric's back with a new mic. Look how fancy that is. It's no longer just raining static upon our ears, so happy for that. My lighting might be off. This is like an old school stream because I literally wasted 5 minutes looking for my ring light plug-in. Eric, my block, I lost it, so that's why this stream is going live even later than I planned. I just got off work, so kind of scrambling around here, but we're ready to give you guys a live stream, give you guys a post-game show, the second to last post-game show of the season. I've been having fun with these bottom taglines, Eric. Have you ever watched Around the Horn?
Yeah, of course.
You know Woody Page, he always has those sayings in the background.
Yeah.
I'm embracing my inner Woody Page with these bottom tags. So we are the best losers, Eric. We are the best losers. Set an NBA record by, I think, 4 games now, 14 30-point losses on the season. The closest, or the best before this season was 10. Is it 16? I don't know.
I think this track. Was 17. Yeah.
Yeah, we just get molly-whopped all the time, and it obviously is good for the tank. So, glad that the Blazers clinched 6th place odds in the lottery. I mean, they could still tie for 5th if Indiana lost their last couple games and Portland lost their last game, which they probably will. Wins their last 2 games, yes. But, that's unlikely. They're kind of doing the same thing that we're doing, so we're looking at 6th in the lottery. Anyway, how's your day going? What's going on, man?
Oh, not too bad. I had to get the Blazer colored light up one that was on sale. It was meant to be, so...
It was meant to be. Absolutely.
But this game was a complete train wreck, but I'm glad we locked up the 6th best odds.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you want to talk about from this game? I don't really have anything to say about this game, dude. This was just obviously a Luka Doncic show. 39 points for him, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He gets a technical, which is just ridiculous because you're playing a G League team essentially right now. Mm-hmm. Why are you getting so worked up that you're getting a technical and potentially suspended for the final game of the season? Maybe he would have rested anyway, but they had a chance to play for the 3 seed. I don't know what he's doing getting a technical when they're up by, what were they up, like 23 at that point?
On a half-court heave, too.
Mm-hmm. Like, come on, man. That dude, I did not expect that dude to be one of those types of complainers, if you know what I mean.
Do those carry over to the playoffs or no?
I think it's like every technical you get suspended a game, or is it like every 2 technicals?
Every other technical.
Every other technical? So maybe it was a good thing.
If they carried over, I was thinking this when it happened, maybe he did it on purpose to get the suspension now so he has one to play with during the postseason, in which case would be kind of smart. So I think he just purposely set out to get a tech if they do carry over.
I don't think it does. I think it's like you get 7 technicals in the playoffs? I don't remember, man.
I thought it did with Draymond a couple years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, anyway. What? I'm just reading chat. You guys are assholes. Anyway, in this game, bright moments. I mean, Drew Eubanks 8 for 14. He was the only Blazer to score through the first 6.5 minutes of this game. 18.7 rebounds for him. I guess that's a bright spot. He was at minus 32 in 32 minutes, though. Blevins was only a -1 in 3 minutes, and, then he got sick, apparently.
If he got the runs or something.
Yeah, something. Macklemore, 5 for 8, shooting 3 for 6 from 3. He had 14 points. Those are really the only 2 positive performances. I mean, Reggie Perry, 4 for 7. That's an efficient night. CJ Ellaby had 7 boards, 5 assists. That's cool. Keon Johnson, 6 assists in 30 minutes with only 3 turnovers. I guess we'll take that. And honestly, I don't see any other positive stats across the board for the entire team. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Greg Brown rolled his ankle. Hopefully he's okay. Kind of sucks for him and Blevins that their last game of the season they might both miss now. But
yeah,
we have to worry about having enough guys.
We might have to sign someone or just bring Josh Hart back to play or something. I don't have anything to say about this game, man. It's just been such a difficult season trying to come up with things to say about this game. You know, our next post-game show will be the final post-game show of the season, and we can kind of recap the season, so that should be easy. I mean, this is kind of the last stream, hopefully for a few years, where we're talking about a 50-point loss, where we're struggling to talk about the actual basketball being played. So let's just jump into the tankathon like we always do. We'll do a good old sim. Nothing's really changed with that, but go ahead.
To wrap it up, I agree with XC Depp in chat, who says the best part was when the fourth quarter was over.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm ready.
Just have to endure one more game of this.
I'm ready for the off-season.
We got Fan Appreciation Night. We got Bill Shonley Night. We got, last game of the season. So,
are you going to that game?
I think I might, yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to that game.
Yeah, if I do, I'm going to leave early, so I'm home in time, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, Cora gets to be the girl who, like, brings the ball out to the...
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
People, so, yeah.
How's she going to handle that?
See that? I don't know. I have no clue. She should be good. She's usually good with directions like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're hooking you up because
well, like, no one's going to the game, so my mom's just like, hey, can so and so do this on this night? And they're like, yeah, sure. No one else is
really. That's funny. That's funny. Much. That's kind of sad, but that's also funny. So good for her. Hopefully she enjoys that. Anyway, let's jump into the tankathon, man.
Nate J Dub, the draft lottery is May 17th.
May 17th. Yep.
5 weeks from Tuesday.
We'll have a live stream for you guys. You guys can sit there and be nervous with us live on stream. That we'll all be in it together, okay? For better or worse. I'm very nervous for that stream. And I'm very nervous for these playing games because New Orleans has to lose. So it's just going to be nerves the next, over the offseason, the playing games with New Orleans, and then the draft lottery. I'll be a lot less nervous if New Orleans plays their way into the playoffs once the draft lottery rolls around. But that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing, but it's like, if we don't move up, we don't move up. But also, if we lose the Pelicans pick, we kind of have to move up. Like, we need to move up then. So, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how the next month and a half plays out. It's obviously a completely lost season, but there's some intriguing things that we're going to see. And, it's just the first time that we've ever had draft positioning like this since we've started the channel, so it's going to be fun to cover that. Anyway, here's a tankathon picture.
If we lose the Pelicans pick, either because they moved up or made the playoffs, and our pick moves down like to 8th or something, that's going to be... I might break something live on stream, so...
What are you going to break?
I don't know.
You need to hang up a punching bag. With Joe Cronin's face on it.
I want it to be organic, so I'm not going to have like something there to break. I am just going to reach for something, whatever I can find, whether it's this like fan behind me or something. Like I might punch a hole through the wall. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't advocate for doing that. Don't punch holes in your walls, kids. Okay. But I feel like it's going to be a situation.
This is like the one moment where it's worthy of doing it.
That would be the one moment. I feel like it's a situation where all of a sudden, the webcam's just sitting looking at you on your desk, but then all of a sudden there's just a blur and your laptop's on the ground. You're not going to throw your laptop, are you?
No. Well, I won't throw my laptop or any of my equipment, but maybe my mouse will get chucked across the room, but... Yeah,
that's something you can replace pretty easily.
I'll put some padding around my new mic, so like when I go to grab it, I'll be like, "Wait a second."
The music that has curse words in it, so it has the little notice in the bottom right. I might have to put that in the draft lottery thumbnail. Okay, that might have to be. You might have to tell your mom not to watch that stream, and that might be a stream in which we are completely unfiltered because if it's either going to be maybe the most exciting moment we've ever had live or the most depressing moment we've ever had live. Mm-hmm. It's going to be crazy going into that stream. So May 17th is this draft lottery day. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not. Anyway.
Oh, that's a good idea, Fuzzy. But like I said, I don't want to have like a plan on what I'm going to break. I just want it to be like in the heat of the moment. So But yeah, grabbing that clock off the wall and breaking it, that doesn't work. That might be a good idea. It'll accomplish two things.
Are the batteries just dead, or does it just literally not work?
I switched the batteries and it didn't
so it's just a decorative piece.
Yeah, so that's a good idea, because then it'll get down off the wall and then I can break it. But
see, like, that's the thing. I know you want it to be organic, but if maybe you could make people a little bit more okay, where if you promise if the Pelicans pick moves into the top 4 and ours doesn't, you'll just slam your clock on the ground for everybody to see. That might give us a little bit of therapeutic relief after that, and we're gonna need it if that happens.
Yeah, slamming it on the ground, I guess, would be the least troublesome thing I could do with it. Might chuck it like a frisbee through the window or something.
You're gonna have to clear whatever with your wife. Oh man. Anyway, here's the tankathon. Standings: the Blazers have clinched 6. They've lost 10 in a row. Look at that. Look how green that is. Green as in good, because losing is great.
Stupid Indiana had to lose 8 in a row, though.
I know. We've been trying to catch them, man. The last time they won was when they beat us, I think. Yep, the last time they won was when they beat us. So, nice. Yeah, they can't win a freaking game. I told you guys that they probably weren't going to get to 27 wins. I told you guys that we're probably not catching Indiana. I saw a lot of people, like 5 games ago, saying, "Ooh, we could catch Indiana, we could catch Indiana." I warned you guys that they were doing the same thing that we're doing. I mean, just look at... They've been more competitive. They're not losing by 50, but they're still losing, and this tough schedule has not served the Blazers any positives. I wish Indiana was playing our schedule and we were playing their schedule, because we'd be losing by even more somehow, and they might have actually won a couple games. But yeah, so they have to win their final 2 games for us to end up tied with them. I don't think that's happening. It's, what was it? I'm going to click back on here for a third time. Philadelphia and Brooklyn. So don't count on that happening. You're looking at 37% odds at the top 4. 9% odds at the number 1 overall pick. That's pretty good, considering when we started the tank, we were sitting down here at like 14% odds at the top 4 or 20% odds at the top 4. To now have that all the way up to 37 is pretty nice.
Yeah, we were ninth for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. And we were worried about being able to effectively tank because of how easy our schedule was. But obviously, Portland hasn't had any issues with that. I mean, this is that 9
one game of that 11-game stretch.
Yeah, but you remember how it was like 9 games where we play either San Antonio, Houston, OKC, or New Orleans?
Mm-hmm. Lost them all.
Lost all 9 of them.
Good job, guys.
Imagine saying that before the season. That would have been something to know before the season. Anyway, it would be nice for them to win tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Sunday, because it doesn't affect anything. It'd be nice for them to get another win. You're talking about this team. They've only won 2 games since the All-Star break. That's insane. It's actually insane.
Insanely good.
Insanely great, yes. So 10 in a row, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, they're 2-20 since the All-Star break. Just phenomenal. Take job. From Portland, still couldn't get higher because, obviously they were trying to win games at the start of the season. Anyway, New Orleans is currently half a game ahead of New York. They've won 2 in a row. New York, is New York playing right now? Let me check.
No, they beat Washington earlier today.
Okay, New York and Washington squared off, so it looks like Washington's probably looking at the 10th pick there. New Orleans sitting there at 12. If they lose another game, they could end up in a tie with New York, which is kind of what I'm rooting for. And they're playing at Memphis and then Golden State the final 2 days of the season. So New Orleans could lose one or both of those games, maybe move up to 11. They're not going to fall to 13 no matter how the plans go. Like, there's no chance they fall to 13 before the lottery. Obviously, in the lottery, Atlanta or Charlotte or both could move up. But before the lottery, you're looking at probably 12th pick for New Orleans, 6th pick for Portland. And I'll take that, I'll take that, because that's the thing is if they sit here at 12, yes, I'll be nervous going into May 17th, but 7% chance at a top 4. We have a 9% chance at a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, if 7% hits, you just have to chalk that up to circumstances that were just meant to be, I guess. But I'm more worried about them making the playoffs and not getting the pick than that moving up.
Yep. It looks like Minnesota's going to be in the playing game unless they win. Oh, no, they only have 1 game left. So it's going to be Minnesota hosting the Clippers for the 7-8 playing game. That'll be on Tuesday. And then New Orleans hosting San Antonio for the 9-10 playing game. That'll be on Wednesday. We're going to have a post-game show for that stream on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Live. Link at the top of the description. Make sure you go subscribe to that. We're going to have an episode of Blazers Uprise Live Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. Final day for games, so final day for picks against the spread. So we're going to go Sunday, then we're going to go Wednesday after that play-in game, and then depending on if New Orleans wins or loses that play-in game against San Antonio, that'll determine when we stream after that, because then they would play Friday night against the Clippers or the Timberwolves if they win that play-in game. So then we'll do a post-game show for that. So that's Blazers Uprise Live. Next week we'll have you covered right after New Orleans plays those games, because obviously it's very important, because we need that freaking pick. Anything else to go over?
Dro asked if everyone continued playing after the All-Star break that was able to. Hart, Ant, Nurk. Mm-hmm. Where do you think we'd be in the play-in?
We'd need 7 more wins. God, that's crazy. That there's 7 wins better than us.
Just a few weeks ago, it was like we were still only 2 games back.
I feel like everybody will say yes because of this 4-game winning streak that we went on, but I feel like that was kind of fluky. Like we were overachieving during that streak, but I think we would have been right on the cusp. Obviously, if we beat San Antonio like twice out of these 3 times, then we're in. If we lose twice out of 3 times, then we're probably close to tied. So 50-50.
We definitely beat Oklahoma City twice. We definitely beat San Antonio 1 out of the 3 times, I think, and Houston 1 out of the 2 times. So there's, 4 wins right there. So
Indiana.
Pretty close. Yeah, we probably beat Indiana. It's really close.
Yep. Would have accidentally made the play if we didn't try and lose these games, which would have been a bad thing. I'm glad to be sitting here at 6. Some people still have a problem with the fact that we tanked the final 22 games of the season, but I mean, I'd rather be sitting here than, maybe we can get the 8th seed and get just whooped by the Phoenix Suns in the first round. I'd much rather be talking about getting the first overall pick than losing 4-0 in the first round. So I'm happy with where we're at. Let's see if we're happy once I simulate the lottery, though. Eric, let's do this thing. As we always do. 14 Charlotte, 13 Atlanta, 12 New Orleans picked to Portland. We've kept that pick ever since it fell down to 12. 11, you got New York. 10, you got San Antonio moving down 1, so Washington jumps in the top 4. At 9, you got the Lakers picked to New Orleans. At 8, you got Portland, not happy.
Move down 2 spots, yay. Kings and
7.
Wizards move up.
Detroit at 6, Orlando at 5, Houston at 4, Sacramento at 3, Oklahoma City 2, and freaking Washington at number 1. And they get to screw it up. Chet and Porzingis. Not saying Chet would be screwing it up. It's just interesting to think about that combination. That'd be intriguing. Chet. They got Kispert. They got Hachimura. I might have to be a Wizards fan as my second team. Kind of are, because they got the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Anyway, yeah, that sucks. 8 and 12. Do you think you could trade up, or would you trade up to 5 or 6 to take anyone?
Nah, I'm not. I don't think the difference in players between 8 and 5 is that much.
What if Mathurin is 6'4.5" without a standing reach? Like he's a shooting guard without the size to play small forward. Does that change?
I'd rather trade down than up, I think, in this scenario.
I'd trade up for Sharp. Other than that, no. Obviously, if you can get to the top 3, which you can, but if you could trade up for Sharp, I'd probably do it. Maybe 8 and 12 for 5, and maybe if Orlando has an early second-round pick, I would do something like that. But yeah, this would be an absolute crummy scenario.
So we traded CJ and tanked the whole season to get Hart and Sharp.
Yep. But I mean, this is even worse.
I know.
So
yeah,
we'll do another lottery sim to end off the stream, hopefully on a good note.
This isn't exactly the letter O's question from earlier, but if we had 8 and 12, would you trade those 2 in salary for Anthony Davis?
If we had 8 and 12, yes.
Yeah. If we had 6 and 12?
Maybe.
Only a Sharp.
Depends on measurements. For Sharp and for Griffin, and yeah, depends on measurements. But Davis is kind of a weird fit with Nurk. Andy can't stay healthy. Is that team a contender? Because if it's a contender, you do it. I'm not sure if that team's a contender. And then the downside's massive. The only way I'm taking on that sort of downside is if you know you're going to be a contender. And, I mean, Dame, Ant, AD, Nurk is a pretty dang good core. But I don't know if that's competing with Phoenix or the Clippers next year are going to be really good. So,
yeah, I mean, healthy AD that's not washed, I guess that's a risk that would probably make Dame happy. But so I think you have to take that because I don't think there's another quote-unquote star player that we could possibly get that this could be the level Anthony Davis is. But, yeah, it's still a very big risk. But I think we have to.
Yep. Anyway, that's the Tankathon sim. What do you want to do now?
Let's just answer questions.
People earlier this season, when we broke down games for an hour and a half, we're like, you don't talk to chat enough, so we're making up for it right now. Chat, talk to us. What do you got? Questions about anything. We're going to answer them.
Ish asks if we're going to have any post-game streams for the Summer League. With how good our roster might be, yeah, we'll probably have
We'll do something. Whatever we do stream-wise for the Summer League is going to be on Blazers Uprise Live. So if you haven't subscribed already, I say that all the time, but less than a third of the people subscribed to this main channel is subscribed to the second channel, Eric. So there's still a lot of people out there. That's why I continuously plug it every time we mention it. That's why I tell people to subscribe because, that's where the things are going to be in the offseason in terms of streams outside of... Draft lottery on May 17th. The mock-off season draft will be early June, and then we'll have the draft stream. Then we'll have the free agency stream, or maybe 2 free agency streams. Those will be here on the main channel. And if we pull off a trade on a random day, that, of course, will be here on the main channel. That's only streams over the offseason. So, second channel, Blazers Uprise Live for... maybe a play-by-play stream, maybe a couple of those, maybe a post-game stream, we'll see. But, it should be a pretty good team, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, if anything, we'll have our twice-weekly shows, and so we'll definitely talk about the Summer League on those. And, yeah, so how many streams on the off-season? We have 2 a week for sure. We have, like Tori just said, our big shows, which are the draft lottery, free agency, and any trades that happen. So for sure tune into those because those are going to be a lot of fun. And honestly, the mock-off season takes up a lot of both Tori and my time. It's very in-depth and requires hours every day of inputting all the trades and free agency signings and preparing for the draft and all that. So that takes up a lot of our time, and there's a lot of content around that if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And then Tori has a video coming out soon that will go through his proposed video schedule for all the stuff he wants to do.
I'm doing a bunch, man. I'm doing a bunch. Already been working on things. If you didn't see earlier on Twitter, I posted a little sneak peek at the graphics that I have for player reviews and a couple of the animations that I have for that. So I'll have player review videos right after the season's done. I'll have draft stuff every Saturday is the plan right now. Some of that will be mock drafts. Planning on doing like a big board, updating that, putting my big board next to Eric's on the website, posting articles with that. Mailbags, as always, those videos are pretty easy. I don't know if you want to do any of the Trade Talk Tuesdays, Eric, but I do have some plans, so if you ever want to do one, let me know.
Okay.
But we're gonna try and keep you guys covered and try and do things consistently. I'm planning on doing daily uploads, uploading at noon. Might miss a day or two, but I have some filler content, and I've been working on a bunch of stuff in the past few days to actually pre-upload, because I've never actually uploaded something scheduled to be put out 5 days from now. So that'll be pretty cool. And then I'm also helping another guy edit too. So been on the YouTube grind. Need to buy a new laptop. because mine got stolen like two months ago. So need to buy a new laptop. Planning on doing that soon.
Okay, let's just rapid fire some of these questions.
Yep.
Harris asks, would you rather have the Pels play the Clips or T-Wolves?
Clippers.
Yeah, Clippers for me too. Although I think T-Wolves are a tough matchup for them as well with Cat, but yeah.
Do we need a Summer League correspondent? Are you going to be down there? Are you applying for the Summer League correspondent role? Maybe. I hadn't thought about it until now.
What is the best win now trade target you think we could get with the 6th and 12th pick?
Siakam.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's realistic. But that's kind of the best that I think has more than zero chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think we're getting LeBron.
Yeah. I still think the best path, it might not be a win now, but is to get lucky on a draft pick, because you hit on a draft pick and you don't have to give up salary in a trade or whatever. I think we're in much better position than if we traded a bunch of salary and the picks for one player.
Keegan Murray or Ben Mathurin? I have a similar grade on both. It depends on measurements, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
OG could be possible, but I'd rather have Siakam, Antonio. Dude, you gotta love when I say I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think Siakam's gonna happen, and then people have to come in chat and say it's not gonna happen. Like I literally just said that. But is there a 3v3 tournament this year? And are y'all competing? If so, good question. I think there will be.
As of right now, I don't think they've canceled it.
Well,
the last couple of years they canceled it very early.
They haven't announced it.
It was May that they canceled it last year.
Yeah.
So I'll have to wait.
I mean, it's a different situation than it was last year. I mean, people are going in Moda Center without masks, full capacity. So
mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna happen.
Hopefully, yeah.
I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. But we're going to have pickup runs during the off-season every other weekend. First one I want to do is in May. We'll sell tickets for those for admission just to cover rent cost. It'll be cheap, probably $5, $10. Want 2 courts for 2 hours at a high school somewhere.
XCDep says last stream you said you would discuss the Mitchell Gobert situation. Do you want either, and what would you be willing to give up? I mean, obviously we've talked about that like 10 times, but my personal thing, I know Tori might feel slightly different because of how we can maneuver contracts, but I just feel like right now anyone making more than $30 million is off the table for me, unless it's like a crazy game changer type player. Now it's debatable whether you think Mitchell or Gobert could do that. I don't think Mitchell makes a lot of sense for us.
Neither do
with
I.
How much we'd have to give up to get him, and him being a guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't think he makes a lot of sense. But
and then the thing is with Gobert is like you're gonna let Nurkic walk and probably get nothing back for him if you trade for him. So it's like you gotta view losing Nurkic as part of the acquisition cost for Gobert, and then he's making a ton of money. So you're talking about probably trading either Hart or both draft picks to even get relatively close in salary. But I still think you're going to have to trade Hart because I don't think the numbers work. And then obviously Bledsoe on top of that. And at that point, with all the take up to get Gobert, I don't see that getting us to contention. That's like an all-in move on somebody that doesn't get us to contention. I'm not on board with that because you're not left with assets to do pretty much anything else on top of that. So whoever you go out there and get needs to get you as close as possible to contention. Like, it needs to get you knocking on the door if you're going to make an all-in move. And I don't think Gobert does that. I don't think Mitchell does that because that's already our strength. Neither one of those guys addresses the forward holes, so I don't think they're good targets. Maybe if, like, Boston wants Donovan Mitchell and is willing to trade Jaylen Brown for whatever freaking reason, like say they, you know, I mean, we've talked through a bunch of scenarios that aren't likely in themselves, but, you know, crazy things can happen. What are you thumbs down?
I'm out on Jaylen Brown. Don't want that guy near my team. Screw him.
Okay, that report wasn't necessarily true because Al Horford is actually vaccinated, so I'm not going to go off that yet.
We'll see.
But
I'm not going off. I just don't want him on the team.
I mean, I just wait and see if it's true. Because the Chris Mannix... Okay, I forgot going on this. Chris Mannix disputed how he was quoted. Okay.
Even though those are exact words from a podcast.
Yeah, so it was like they hadn't confirmed that they were vaccinated, not necessarily confirmed that they weren't. So I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, just a hypothetical example. I don't want to start talking about this. Just I don't know, come up with a different hypothetical example. I was just thinking 3-team trade, you could send Donovan Mitchell somewhere if Utah wanted something we wanted, and then you could maybe, you know, like if Toronto wanted a dynamic guard next to Scotty and OG and Siakam, and they were willing to trade one of those three for like a Donovan Mitchell. Maybe you could figure something out where, because that's the thing, if Utah trades one of those two guys, they're blowing it up, so they're probably going to want rebuilding assets. So maybe you could sort out like Donovan Mitchell to Toronto, Siakam to Portland, and then Portland's lottery, you know, both of their lottery picks to Utah or something like that. Just hypothetical, I don't know.
Let's see. Hey, just so you know, the Raptors aren't trading Siakam, so I don't know why you keep bringing them up.
It's a hypothetical.
Dro asks, what do you think the Mavericks need to be an actual contender?
A second star. A second star scorer to take some of that responsibility off Luka, because I don't think Luka's great, but I don't think Luka can just carry that team offensively against the best defenses in the league. And they don't have another guy that I'd trust to consistently step up for them.
Yeah. They don't have the assets to necessarily get this player, but if they had a true legit center that's good at defense and was like a lob threat, rim running big, kind of the opposite of Porzingis, I guess, or so what
Gobert, is that what you're say?
I mean, Gobert's. I mean, how old is Gobert now? I don't know if he's the right fit, 29? But that might be the guy that is available, but maybe someone a little younger. I'm drawing a blank. I mean, that would be a great fit for Siakam. Not that he's a center, but just some sort of big man that Luka could lob to. That's better than Dwight Powell or whatever. I think that's what they need.
Yeah, I think unless they sign a star through free agency, I think that's the next team that's going to get stuck not being able to make it out of the second round at most for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take. I don't know, but it's just I don't see how they need to get at least a CJ McCollum type player, just a guy that they can consistently rely on to provide that offensive punch, playmaking for himself and others. They don't have a guy like that. Like they just traded Porzingis for freaking Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie ain't that guy.
Well, they have Jalen Brunson, who could be that guy who's shown in flashes, but the problem is he's another guard that needs the ball to be effective. So, same with Dinwiddie. So that's why I said they need a front court player that's like that. Not necessarily. It's the same problem we had. We needed a more balanced roster. I don't like their 4s and 5s on that team.
I mean, Jalen Brunson is good third, maybe fourth guy. I don't see him as maybe he can become that second guy, but I'd much rather have CJ than him, you know. I think they need a CJ McCollum level player or better, and maybe Brunson can become that. But he's only been in the league 4 years, but he's already closer to 26 years old. You know, he's 25 right now. He turns 26 in like 4 months from now. So yeah, he's gonna get paid too. So I don't even know what they plan on doing with him. I assume they keep him, but he's a guy who could get paid $20 million a year, just like Ant.
Yeah. Mitchell Robinson seems like the type of guy, several people brought him up in chat. That seems like the kind of guy Dallas would overpay for this summer, and then he just, like, isn't very good.
Yep.
I mean, I know he's a rim-running big who can play defense, but he's not, like, the smartest player, and he's very limited offensively.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
I know this is like a heated thing. I personally do not like pineapple on pizza, but I have no problem if others do. Like, I don't say it doesn't belong. So yes, it can go on pizza, but I don't really prefer it. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want pineapple on my pizza, but there's times where it tastes pretty damn good. So I've never understood people that like hate it or just, you know, I understand not liking it, but it's like such a personal debate for some people. I've never understood it. Like, if you say you like pineapple on pizza, if somebody's a non-pineapple on pizza person, they're just, they look at you differently as a human being. So, yeah, I'm cool with pineapple on pizza.
Who are you rooting for to win the championship?
Phoenix.
Yeah.
They're built the right way. They play the right way.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be upset at that. You know, our guys over on the Valley, or Suns Valley Pod, now it's called. So yeah, I'm cool with that. What about the Pelicans? They can win it.
No. What? If the Bucks already was.
If they made the playoffs, that'd be awesome if CJ led them to a championship. That'd be so cool.
Dro says, Phoenix, I can't watch the stream anymore. Okay, bye, Dro, won't miss you.
Oh, snap. Yeah. That's tough. I'm trying to look at the East to see if there's any teams.
Are you guys interested? Okay, go ahead.
I wouldn't mind if the Bucks repeated.
Yeah, I guess. That'd be cool. I mean, Cleveland, obviously, if they made it, but that's not likely. Are you guys interested in shipping out Ant and Nas? We need to get the highest value right now if Lillard is going to get anywhere near a trophy. I mean, the thing is, you can't just ship Ant anywhere. He's a free agent. So what are you getting for him? It would have to be a team that'd be interested in signing him to the best possible deal he could get. Otherwise, you're just going to sign somewhere else. So I don't really look at it in that frame of mind. I mean, I'd be open to trading Nas in the right deal, and you know, if a sign and trade came along for Ant, that was the right deal, I'd be open to shipping him out too, but it'd have to be a bona fide star at minimum for Ant. For Nas, you know, like if you could get OG Anunoby for Nas and the Pelicans pick, I think you have to consider that. Trevin's gonna make me remove his comments that are lies.
I mean, almost all your takes have been kind of leading that way.
I mean, I said what? I said I'd be open to trading him in the right deal.
You're a Nas hater, man.
Oh, get out of here, man. Get out of here. I am not a Nas hater, okay? If I was a Nas hater, that snippet, that preview clip that I posted would have been negatives, not positives, okay? So...
All right, so is Nane stop spamming chat? What is your predicted starting five at the start of next season?
Oh, I have top chat on. I didn't even see it. I don't know, man. Because that's the thing, is it depends on where our pick ends up, you know? So, yeah. I mean, I assume somebody would draft with the Portland pick, but if we draft Sharp, I could see him not starting right away. Mm-hmm. So, but I think it will probably be... We'll draft a forward with the Portland pick, and they'll start at power forward or small forward. If we draft AJ Griffin, I think he'll start. And then Jeremy Grant. If I had to predict something.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, I mean, that's the one bonus about not getting the Pels pick, I guess, is it makes it a lot harder to get Grant.
Yeah, but what if we weren't gonna get Grant? We were gonna get OG somehow. I don't know. Like
Dame, Ant, Nas, Winslow, Nurk. There you go.
Dame, Ant, Nas, Winslow, Nurk. That's gross. I would be very upset. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to trading anybody on this roster in the right deal outside of Dame, because I don't think there is a right deal for Dame.
Would you all rather keep or trade a top 3 pick? 100% keep it. I'm not, unless it's like the first pick and we're trading back to 2 or 3. I am not considering trading down out of the top 3.
I mean, if we're talking about trading down, I wouldn't trade down below 3. If we're talking about trading for a player, I mean, if like Giannis was available for some reason, and we could get Giannis, like a superstar, yeah, but that's not gonna happen. So there's no like realistic deal that makes sense. I mean,
hey Todd,
like if Toronto had like the 8th or 9th pick and they were willing to trade like Siakam in the 9th pick for the first pick, I'd have to consider it. But they're in the playoffs, so they don't have that pick. But like I wouldn't trade the first pick for Siakam. Because you'd have to match his salary too and give up more anyways. So I wouldn't trade the first pick for Siakam. Need more value than that. And I don't think Toronto's going to trade the first pick for Siakam because the only possible reason they even trade Siakam is because they have 3 forwards. So they're not going to trade him for a top 3 pick to draft another forward unless they really want Chet and they want to play him at center right away.
Yeah.
I don't really know what their long-term plan is, because I don't think they're good enough to do anything, but they're not in a position where they can get good enough to do anything unless they take a step back, in my opinion. Unless Scotty Barnes becomes a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you tend to underrate, like, Van Vliet and stuff, but other than that, I kind of agree with you. I mean, they're not that old of a team. I mean, other than, I think, Siakam's 28-ish.
Yeah, but...
they're not super old.
Yeah, but do you see their players being young enough with enough improvement ahead of them where they're all going to get to the point where they're collectively a team that is playing in the finals or winning a championship?
I mean, I think they need a third guard, and I think they need, obviously, a better center. But I don't think those are out of the realm of possibility. Like, I thought the Thad Young trade was a bad move for them. Giving up a first in that, I wouldn't have done that. But they're sitting there, I believe they got a high second out of that trade. So it's possible... If Koloko falls to the second round, they could get him. I think that would be a good fit. I think there's ways to find a center without having to get a top pick.
I don't understand. You said that I underrate Van Vliet. I don't... Like, what do you mean?
I think you think their ceiling is lower than I do, but...
I mean... I just have a hard time seeing them truly contending. Because here's the thing. We don't know if Siakam can be the number 1 guy in the playoffs on a playoff team yet. Because he hasn't... Like, the one time he was the number 1 guy in the playoffs on a playoff team, it came in the bubble, so maybe that affects things. But he didn't do well. So we haven't seen him be the number 1 guy on a playoff team offensively. And... It's going to be interesting to see. Like, I don't think they make it out of the first round this year. I think they need a ironically, they need a Kawhi type player, but even just another star offensive guard. Because I like Van Vliet, great defensive player, makes plays for others, isn't the most efficient scorer, and then Siakam, if hopefully he doesn't have another playoffs like he did in the bubble as number 1 guy where he just kind of disappeared. Because that's my worry with them in the playoffs is they just don't have enough offensively in terms of star power to get them to where they need to go. And I feel like that's not going to change. You know, like they got guys that can get better, but Van Vliet's already 28. Siakam's already, 27? Siakam's already 28. He just turned 28 a week ago. So I don't really see who's going to like step up into that role. I love Siakam as a number 2. I think that's his best role on a contending team. So that's kind of where I sit on them.
Yeah, I mean, Trent's capable of scoring a lot. Obviously, OG, if he's healthy, which he hasn't really been super healthy. But yeah, I think they have enough scoring.
Trevin's trolling me. Anyway. You're getting congrats on your new coaching gig. How'd that go last night?
Oh, it went fine, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you said you didn't know where you were going into it, so did it go?
Yeah, let's just say we have our first game tomorrow morning, and we had one practice Thursday night, and that's it. So
kick the ball into the net. I
have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah.
Kick the ball into the net. That's all you got to do. And then just sit there courtside, you know.
Yeah, we're supposed to like, because I got this like training manual. It's like week 1 work on this, and then by like week 3 or 4 you're supposed to run these formations and plays and stuff. And I'm like, there's no chance.
How old are they?
9-year-olds.
Huh. See, it feels a little bit young to be running like formations, but.
Yeah, it just turns into everyone chases the ball anyway. So
yeah, exactly. So, okay, I'm reading chat. Coach Eric, that has a ring to it. Sounds vaguely familiar. No to trading Dame. The Blazers aren't screwed if they keep him. If the Blazers get the number 1 pick, they are the opposite of screwed. What's the opposite of screwed? What's the word for that?
They're, I don't know, in prime position. Yeah, they'll be screwing their opponents. I don't know.
Yes. There you go.
All right.
Go ahead.
If Spencer says, if he told us Nas was our starting 3 at the start of the season, what would be your immediate reaction?
Oh, God. Probably that. Oh, God. Like, I think, in the best case scenario, I think he can play well enough to be the starting 3, but I don't trust him to, like, I don't want to just settle for him being the starting 3 next year. I want to do better than him, because I think we can get better players that are more proven than he is, and then I'd love to have him off the bench, because I think his energy off the bench is a good thing to have, and I think off the bench, playing with the bench lineups, he can be a little bit more of a scorer than he would be with the starting lineup. Obviously, he can cut off guys and, you know, get buckets that way, but I think his potential lies in him becoming somebody that obviously scores off the dribble, makes plays for others off the dribble, and I feel like he'll have more of that responsibility with the bench. Now you can stagger him and whatnot. I just feel like we can get a starting 3 and 4 that are better than Nas going into next year. What would be your reaction, Eric?
I'd be fine with it, because I feel like we're going to get a small forward, whether it's through the draft or whatever. And if Nas beats him out, I feel like Chauncey wouldn't be afraid to start a rookie. So I feel like Chauncey would have thought he earned the starting spot either by play or that he had taken the next step in his game, and was worthy of starting. So I think I'd be fine with it.
Yep. Anyway, this might not be the year to get a veteran player. Next year might have more guys available. Grab some young guys and hope they pop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I still think that's more likely scenario to lead to contention eventually than making a big trade and hoping that one player turns their chances around.
It just depends on the player for me.
What are the chances you think the Lakers actually do blow it up?
35%.
By blowing it up, do you think that's trading both LeBron and AD?
The chances they trade both of them is 25 to 30%. The chances they trade one of them is 35 to 40%.
And the chances they trade Westbrook?
0%.
Hey, I heard the Hornets might be interested.
Why the hell would the Hornets want him, bro?
Because Jordan likes him. Because he's Team Jordan.
Dude needs to stop playing GM. Needs to get out of the way and let the professional GMs do the GMing.
Yeah. They do. They have 2 years left on the Gordon Hayward contract. He's been kind of frustrating for them because he's been hurt so often.
Oh, God, that's who we're going to get.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could definitely see a scenario where they trade a 2-year contract like him making over $30 million for a 1-year contract of Westbrook. They just have to throw in another contract to make it work. I could definitely see that happening.
It's such a terrible, terrible fit when you have Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball, though. Like, what, they're going to be the Toronto of point guards?
Rozier could be the other player in that trade, I guess.
So, like, how many times do we have to see Russell Westbrook not helping a team win?
I think maybe they're just... I mean, they won't... If Jordan makes that trade, he's not setting it up this way, but if I was looking at it from Charlotte's point of view, maybe they even get a first out of that, a future first. So they're kind of setting up their situation to maybe make a run at a key free agent or make a big trade at the deadline for a star to pair with LaMelo. That's a better fit. I might be willing to eat a year just to make that better long term.
Yeah,
it's definitely an interesting conversation, but yeah, I don't know. If I'm another team, I'm not trading for Westbrook, but I can kind of see if you're looking at it from a 1 year. Same with John Wall, which would probably be a more realistic option if you're the Hornets and the Rockets have a little bit more assets to trade out, so maybe do something there. But
yeah, I got a question for you. Based on kind of what we were talking about. Obviously, we'd have to make the contracts match for Gordon Hayward, so Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, plus, like, Keon Johnson.
For what?
For Gordon Hayward. But basically, obviously, we have to make contracts match, but who would you rather have on the team next season, Gordon Hayward or Jeremy Grant? I know it's a gross question.
I can't say neither.
Nope, you have to pick one. Have to.
Oh, so who did you say it was going out? Bledsoe?
Let's say it was Bledsoe, Winslow, Keon Johnson, and like our early second round pick this year. Would you rather do that or the Pelicans pick for Jeremy Grant?
And why are the... Oh, I guess it's the same type of... I mean, if we got to keep both of our picks and the Pelicans pick conveyed, and that made it more likely both of them are kept, I'd maybe say Hayward, just because I want to keep both picks, and that would... But I think either scenario, we're probably going to have to give up the Pels pick.
Yeah, so if it was the Pels pick, would you just go with Grant?
I guess if I have to choose one or the other, yeah. Yeah, that's gross, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably rather go Grant, too, but I feel like that could be the move. I mean, honestly, if we did Winslow, Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, and our early second for Hayward, I would probably breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief if we kept the Pelicans pick and didn't trade it for Grant. But if it's the Pels pick for Hayward in that trade, then no. And you probably have to trade Keon in that trade just to match salary, unless you sign the Pelicans pick and then include it as outgoing salary as part of the trade. So it would have been nice to get like another small contract. We could throw in Greg Brown and Lozada instead of Keon Johnson. So we could do like Bledsoe, Winslow, Greg Brown, Lozada, and the Pelicans pick for Hayward. Which would, ew.
I don't want anything to do with the Lakers head coaching position, Max.
Bro, you're getting put in timeout because of your name. Change your name and you won't be put in timeout. Anyway. Or go to a different YouTube account. Alright, we don't talk political stuff in our chat, and that includes usernames. So anyway.
Weezy asked how high you see Dyson Daniels going into the draft. It's so hard to know that right now because one, we're still waiting on measurements. Two, its workouts are going to be everything for some of those guys because if they wow in workouts, they could be. I mean, he could go as high as 6 or 7 maybe if a team like Giddey last year, right?
Yeah, because Giddey's stock was kind of around what Dyson Daniels is right now at this time last year.
Mm-hmm. But if he's a true legit 6'7", but shoots poorly in workouts, I could see him being, mid to late teens too. So probably somewhere in that best case scenario for him, like 6 or 7. Worst case, probably like 17 or 18.
Yeah. Does Trendon get a lot of minutes anymore if we grab 2 forwards? I mean, if we re-sign Ingles, he probably won't be ready to start the season, so maybe Trendon plays some backup 4. Depends. But I don't think the plan is to have him as part of the rotation next year, necessarily. I'm just reading more comments. I was looking at our potential lineups. We definitely have to trade some guys because rosters can only go up to 15 spots in two-way spots, right? Correct. But I don't think we'll have to trade guys. We have enough free agents.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we just let guys walk, basically.
Assuming we don't cut Brandon Williams from his two-way contract, we have 1 two-way available, and I think we have 7 players under contract. So if you assume we re-sign Ant, Nurk, and Ingles, and Hart, keep Hart, that's 11. 2 rookies is 13. So we still have 2 spots available to go after players not on our team or, keep the second round pick or whatever. And then also we have the second two-way spot as well. So, yeah.
This is an interesting one. MLE on Jalen Smith.
If that was Portland's move, I would be okay with it.
Yeah. Because I think he can play. I think he can fit well next to Trendon 4 or 5 combination long term because he could shoot. He shot 37% from 3 in Indiana, averaging 13 a game, almost 8 rebounds. So in only 25 minutes a game. So still only 22 years old, just turned 22. Good core piece.
Yeah, I think. See, I'd much rather have him than whatever. Sign like or overpay for like Kyle Anderson or something. Just like high upside guys, you know. I'm all for that. And I know he's not really a young guy anymore, but I kind of put TJ Warren in that same category just because he's been injured and that might keep his costs down. So he has a chance to outperform his contract versus, you know, a Derrick Jones Jr. who we're paying $10 million to do nothing, you know, like, I don't like that kind of strategy. So I don't like overpaying necessarily for a role player, but if you overpay slightly for a player that has a chance to still be good or to outperform a mid-level exception type contract, I'd feel much more confident about it. So I kind of like the idea of Jalen Smith, especially if we don't get one of the top 3 picks in the draft. Yeah.
Agreed. Thoughts on TJ Warren? I know he's good offensively, but what about defensively? He is mediocre at best defensively. I would be okay with TJ Warren coming off the bench at the backup 4, but I wouldn't want him starting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'd definitely be a good piece off the bench. Kind of insurance for whatever other player we get. I still think we need 2 power forwards this summer.
How much do you think he gets paid considering his injury, though? I still think it's going to be MLE money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable giving him the MLE.
Assuming
his medical is clear. I mean, obviously, if his foot's still going to be an issue moving forward.
Well, yeah, then it's not even
yeah, it's a non-conversation. But assuming the team feels pretty confident that he'll be on the floor next year after sitting out 2 years, I would feel comfortable giving him a mid-level exception. I don't think he's going to get much more than that, considering there's not a lot of teams that can pay more than that, and the teams that can, I don't see them necessarily being interested into TJ Warren. But the only scenario I could see him getting paid more is if he stays in Indiana, but I don't really know if they really care to have him anymore anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I was just wondering, biannual exception, is there any chance he falls to that if he's medically okay? I don't think so, considering it's a big free agent crop. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if he was ready to go and you could get him for biannual exception, because that's, what, $4 million?
So, yeah, maybe just under $4 million, I think.
Yeah, then obviously that would be a home run. Like, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Actually, I think it's just over $4 million because Winslow's making 3.9, and that was the biannual exception for the Clippers this year.
Yeah, could also hypothetically sign and trade for him if our salary was going to stay far enough below the hard cap where it wasn't really an issue.
And you wouldn't really have to give up anything in that scenario. Kind of like the Jake Layman sign and trade where he just got like some international player that got drafted that will never play in the NBA.
Because that's the thing is we have a $6.5 million traded player exception from Robert Covington. We could technically sign TJ Warren to like a 2-year, $13 million contract starting at $6.5 million and sign and trade for him without giving anything up. You know, maybe give Indiana some cash to incentivize them to do it. But like that's the thing. If Indiana's planning on letting him walk and then they're just like, here, you can have some free money, they're going to take it. Mm-hmm. And then they get a trade exception out of that deal too. I think it's only half of what he signs for in a sign and trade if you trade a player out. So I think their trade exception in that case would be what, $3.25 million, if I recall correctly, because BYC rules.
I don't think that's correct because of him. Because he made more than that last year. I think that only applies if they're making more on their new contract than they did the previous season. So like in Jake Layman's case, he was coming off like a minimum contract.
That was the thing that made me learn about that was Jake Layman. He signed for like $3 million something. We only got like a 1.6 million TPE.
I'd have to look in the CBA, but I believe since he made like 16 million last year or something. Yeah. I think if he signing trades for less than that, they get the full amount.
I mean, that sounds about right. And that's the thing with any free agent target that's like, and this crop isn't super good, so you're maybe talking about free agent targets that maybe aren't worth the full MLE. If you can get them to sign for $6.5 million, you could sign and trade for them using the ROCO TPE that we have, our second TPE. Mm-hmm. And then you still have the full mid-level exception, full $10 million to sign elsewhere. So you could hypothetically sign Jalen Smith for the mid-level exception, $9 million a year for 3 years, maybe third-year team option, something like that, and then you could sign and trade for T.J. Warren without trading anything out. Just trade some cash maybe. And honestly, you'd have to trade something, so trade a little bit of cash. Indiana probably takes it. They get cash and a free traded player exception.
Yeah. And Dave's talked about finding our Jay Crowder like the Phoenix Suns did or whatever, but then you'd have guys like Winslow, Ingles, Warren. All those guys could potentially be that. I mean, I know none of those guys are probably as good. Well, Winslow's comparable defensively, but doesn't shoot the three as well. But between those three guys, you could hopefully find some sort of combination that makes it work.
Yeah, so that's the thing is in the past we've just had the taxpayer mid-level exception. It's like, okay, we got $5.8 million to sign one guy, or we could split it up amongst two guys. But, most of the time it's just you're going to use it on one guy. This year in free agency, you could technically sign and trade for somebody making $20 million, right? Because you have that $20 million grant TPE. If somebody was worth it, you could do that.
CJ TPE, not
CJ
you said
TPE.
grant TPE.
Oh, God. Yeah, because I just think it's going to be used on freaking grant. Yeah,
it's just
CJ.
too perfect for this exact salary.
Yeah, because Grant's making that type of money. Yeah, we have the CJ McCollum TP at 20.6. Isn't it 20.6? No, it's 20.86 million. So you could sign somebody for starting salary at 20.86 million, not have to trade anything out in a sign and trade. The team sign and trading them to us gets a TPE, so if they were going to walk, it's worth it for the other team to do it. We don't even have to give them anything because it's basically let them walk for nothing or get a free traded player exception. They're going to take the second option. Maybe they leverage us, especially with Corona being our GM. Maybe they leverage us out of a couple second round picks, but yeah, it's very possible. Just like that's how the DeRozan sign and trade happened to Chicago, basically.
The cool thing about that, though, is we did, for the first time, pick up a ton of extra second-round picks, so we have to give up a couple on those. That is one nice thing about having so many second-round picks now in the future is we could still give away a couple and still have, 3 from the trades we made or something.
Yep. And technically, as far as trade player exceptions go, you can take back $100,000 more with the TPE. So if you had a player making $20.96 million, you could fit him into the $20.86 million CJ McCollum TPE. So basically, 21 million and under. It's close enough to round there. So a price point of 20 to 21 million for free agents, a price point of $10 million for the mid-level exception, a price point of $6.5 million for the ROCO traded player exception, and a price point of a little bit more than $4 million for the biannual exception, right? That's 4 different price points, which we could be looking at free agents at. In the past, it's just been 1. So I will have preview videos talking about targets for different things. If we don't use the CJ McCollum traded player exception on draft night for Jeremy Grant, or who knows, if we still have it for agency, I'll probably have a video talking about some potential sign and trade targets with that TPE. So that's the thing, is there's a lot of different free agent avenues that we haven't had before without going out and getting rid of a bunch of players we need and should keep on the team for cap space.
I saw someone the other day say that Jeremy Grant trade had to happen before the new league year because his contract didn't fit in. But I think it's I looked it up, it's $9,000. It still fits by $9,000 next year.
I'll look it up right now too. Spot track Jeremy Grant.
I think they weren't adding the 100,000 or something.
Yeah. So I don't tell people that you can take 100,000 more because I feel like that just confuses people. If it's less than the TP, it fits in, right? But you can technically take 100,000 more than the TP and still have it apply.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Grant makes $20,955,000 next year. The CJ McCollum TPE is, as I said,
I think it's off the top of my head, 29.64. With the 100,000 added?
Yeah, with the 100. Yeah, because the CJ McCollum TPE is 20,864,000.
Perfect.
Basically.
So 29.64, and that's, you're saying Grant's 29.55.
Yep.
Yeah. So it still barely fits.
Yeah. Yep. So it doesn't have to happen by the new league year. But if it's going to happen by the new league year, like, it would happen by the new league year, though.
Right, yeah, because it would be the pick.
Because it'd be the draft pick.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't up to Cronin to plan it. That's just how the math works from the trade. But
we came up with so many trade ideas prior to the deadline where we were getting a $20.86 million TPE.
Yeah. And so for people saying that that's the plan, it's for sure the plan. I keep going back to this, though, and this might be wishful thinking because they might just be waiting to see if the Pels pick conveys or not, which is most likely going to happen, unfortunately. But I keep coming back to, why wouldn't they just make that part of the CJ trade, or make it like so that they were happy with the protections on it? Or why wouldn't they just negotiate that as part of that trade? Or the 3 days after the CJ trade, they still had that TPE, they could have negotiated the terms of that trade as well. So like, I don't get why they wouldn't have just done that to begin with if we made that trade specifically to get Jeremy Grant.
We know what they should have done, and I had trade ideas like this before the trade deadline. I'm sure New Orleans would have wanted Norman Powell too.
Mm-hmm.
They had a trade.
Make sure everyone went to the place they wanted to go to, Tori. It didn't matter what we got back for them as long as they were happy.
Screw Norman Powell, bro. He didn't give us what he didn't give us his all. I'm convinced of that. He was lackadaisical defensively, effort-wise, to say, like, that's the best way I can phrase it. So screw where he wants to go, man. He's gonna get paid because we freaking paid him. He would have gotten paid elsewhere, but maybe not as good of a contract, right? We paid, like, dude would be fine playing in freaking New Orleans. Like, here's the thing. New Orleans had a $17 million trade player exception that could have fit Norm's contract into it. Right? So we could have taken back Satoransky, which we did in the deal, and Josh Hart, and, a little bit of filler salary. And we could have made it so that we're trading out, like, Norman Powell and Tony Snell and, Ben McLemore, and we could have matched Josh Hart, Satoransky, and whatever filler salary the Pelicans were giving us, right? And that trade would have worked throwing CJ on top of it because they could cancel out Norm's salary and then everything they're trading out, Hart, Satoransky, etc. That's like $25 million. That matches CJ. So we could have, if we just didn't trade Norm to the Clippers, if we traded him to the Pelicans, who I'm sure would have taken him on, maybe we could have gotten Trey Murphy out of that deal if we did that. We could have also gotten a $30.8 million trade player exception. Even if we just tossed him in. And we probably could have kept Larry Nance Jr. That's why I was so pissed when they made that initial trade with the Clippers. You're telling me that the Pelicans are starting freaking Devontae Graham right now. Who's their guard? They're playing Najee Marshall minutes, Eric. They would have taken Norman Powell. So I don't know. Stop talking at the wrong time. The timing there was terrible.
Sorry.
No, I stopped talking at the wrong time. Bro, just change your name, man. Or change to a different account. Like, I'm not gonna argue with you on that. Anyway.
So AJ brought up a good trade scenario. If let's say the Raptors were interested in Miles Turner, no idea if they would be or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be a really good scenario to possibly snag OG, because the Pacers, if they go full rebuild, probably wouldn't want OG in that situation, but that's the most likely guy the Raptors would trade out for him. You might have to give a little bit of compensation to Toronto as well, but if they it's the same with Jeremy Grant. They were asking for 2 firsts, right, at the trade deadline. But now if you offer him a lottery pick, maybe they take that for Miles Turner with 1 year left on his deal. And maybe that's the path to get OG, as if they find a center out of it that they really like that fits well with their roster.
Yeah, like, What like Pelicans pick, I assume, would be in the deal going to Toronto, maybe? But where does Indiana get the, like, what are you thinking? What type of framework? Because I agree. I'm just trying to think of how
he said um, Raptors get Turner.
Yeah.
We get OG, and then the Pacers get the 12th pick, and I mean, we wouldn't have to match salary because OG fits in our trade exception, so we're fine.
They would get an $18 million TP.
Yeah, and that, I mean, maybe throwing Keon or whatever, maybe to Indiana as well. But yeah, so basically get the 12th pick and Keon for Miles Turner isn't too bad, I don't think.
Yeah, and then who are you trading the 6th pick for? The 7th pick.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just wish there was like a target out there, like a 4 for the 7th pick. That made sense.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't all on the same team as OG,
Zach and Connor obviously missed out, but it's not a fixed mic; it's a brand new mic.
Yeah. Hopefully you. Are you gonna mess with this one as much?
No, I haven't touched it at all. Except for
I know. I was gonna say you haven't. No, I haven't heard anything. Yeah. It's been perfect.
Keegan Murray at the 4.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't heard anything, but I didn't want to like call you out for messing with your mic because I know I hit my desk. Mm-hmm. Didn't want it to come across like that. So, yeah, Eric, new mic already. Yep.
I'm not trading Ant just because we get Sharp. I think that's addition to that. I'm not confident in saying, oh, Sharp's the answer at the 2 to trade Ant out for that, because I think Ant's legit already going to be there next year as a really good player. So
I feel like the 7th pick isn't enough for AD, huh?
Probably not. Are you thinking OG and AD?
Yeah.
I mean, they probably, see, here's the, I mean, they gave up, what, like 3 number 2 picks for AD or something, and then a bunch of future firsts. So they definitely need draft capital, but the Lakers are the one team in the league. I saw a lot of talk about this, like, oh, you could give them Bledsoe and all our young guys like Keon and Nas and Trendon Watford. But the Lakers are a team that they rarely ever in a trade go for like middling type talent or rookies that aren't necessarily thought of as super high upside guys. So I don't see them valuing like a Nasir Little like a lot of other teams would, especially if they keep LeBron in that scenario. So I don't really see that being like, I mean, obviously if they would take salary to match if they really wanted other assets, but I think it would cost a lot more than the 7th pick or whatever.
Well, what if that pick went up to 4? Because I could see them being like, Jaden Ivey's our next star.
Yeah, that's probably the one scenario I could see. The 4th pick is interesting. So if we had 4th and 12th, and we somehow got OG for the 12th without having to give
Keon, maybe have to give up Nas, I don't know.
Yeah, and then we trade the 4th pick for AD, and they get Jaden Ivey. That's interesting, but we have, man, between OG, AD and Nurk, that's like the most injury-prone front court ever. Jeez,
but it's so good. Dude,
that's so bad.
Ant, OG, AD, and Nurk. I mean, that's maybe the pipe dream then. Like, you could do Bledsoe, Winslow, and then sign Ivy to his rookie contract and include him as salary in the trade after 30 days for AD.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could keep Hart. And then if you sign like Ingles off the bench, and then you still have an MLE, maybe taxpayer at that
makes
point.
like $38 million or something, I think.
Yeah, so it'd be like Winslow's a little bit more than 4. Bledsoe's what, like 19.4. It's 23 plus like 7 is like 30 or close, and then you throw in like Lozada and you're there.
Not for us, Zach. I mean, if it was part of a bigger trade, maybe, but we have trouble matching one of those guys in a trade, not both of them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's a pipe dream to get both those guys, but it's like...
No, he's talking about taking Westbrook back to entice them to get...
Yeah, we just don't have the salary for that.
If this was last summer, we would have with... I guess, at the trade deadline, but...
Question. If we did that trade for OG, and then we got the 7th pick, who knows who we draft, whatever, right? Who cares? Would you sign and trade Ant for AD in the offseason, and then start Hart at the 2, and have Dame, Hart, OG, AD, and Nurkic?
I mean, I understand if we did, but
This is gross.
I'm
the Lakers.
Okay. I mean, this is my homerism, my bias coming in. I don't think I'm trading Ant for pretty much anyone outside of, like Giannis, like you mentioned earlier, that kind of scenario, or whatever. Same. I'm not trading Dame no matter what. So I would. I mean, if they really wanted to pay Ant, I don't even think those salaries match. I mean, we'd have to throw in someone else because Ant's max doesn't match AD's. But hypothetically, I don't think I'm trading Ant in that, like, for many players. So selfishly, I want to roll with Ant and Dame. So I don't think I would. But I understand if we did it, I wouldn't be like super mad.
But what if? I mean, I'm trying to think of how could amass the most star power. Because then you start talking about Donovan Mitchell with the Portland pick. Let's say, the Miles Turner 3 teams. We're just going down a complete pipe dream here. Don't even sit there in chat saying it will never happen. I know it won't. Okay, we're just having fun. So don't be a buzzkill. Okay, so that Miles Turner to Toronto. 12th pick, Keon, maybe you have to throw Nas in to Indiana. We get OG, right, for the TPE. Then sign and trade Ant with... Well, no, then you hope that the Portland pick goes top 4, and you trade that with Bledsoe, and you sign that rookie to his rookie contract, so that pick plus Bledsoe for Donovan Mitchell. Then you sign and trade Ant with Justice Winslow for AD.
Okay.
And you have Dame, Donovan Mitchell, OG Anunoby, Anthony Davis, and Yusuf Nurkic.
All right.
With Josh Hart, Joe Ingles off the bench.
Sweet.
TJ Warren for the MLE.
That's whoever gets the Blazers in the mock-off season has to try and come up with something crazier than that now.
I mean, I don't think Utah, if they're going to blow it up, if they get if they get the 4th pick for Donovan Mitchell and just go younger with Ivy, I don't think they get screwed. If the Lakers decide to blow it up, I don't think they get screwed. And in that trade, I don't think Toronto gets screwed. Like, that's the thing, is normally when you come up with, like, pipe dreams like that, where you add 3 stars, it's like, oh, you're just screwing over other teams. But I actually don't think any other team in that scenario necessarily gets screwed.
I think Mitchell could probably get 3 or 4 firsts from another team.
Yeah, but we're talking, like, the 4th pick could get 3 or 4 firsts.
Yeah, but, I mean, New York's going to have a pretty high pick, and they have multiple firsts in future years as well.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. I'm just saying I don't think Utah gets screwed there. If they get a top 4 pick for Donovan Mitchell, I don't think they get screwed. Maybe they could get more, but I don't think that's a situation where you say they got screwed if they decide to blow it up. Like...
Yeah, I agree with Zach. I'd rather go for LeBron than AD.
Well, instead of AD, you get LeBron. Then you got Dame, Donovan Mitchell, OG, LeBron, and Nurk. And then you bring back Carmelo because he's LeBron's buddy.
Man, Ant and AD, if AD was healthy. That would be interesting.
They'd probably be better than they were this year as long as they got rid of Westbrook.
Ant or Ivy?
Ant.
Yeah, I'd take an Ant too. Proven. First of all, proven. Second of all, he's already shown he's a better three-point shooter, and I think that's important for a point guard. Obviously, Ivy's explosive, but
I think Ivy has more upside, and Ant is obviously the safer pick, the safer choice.
George, we talked about Gobert like every stream and for about 15 minutes earlier in the stream. Sorry, man.
Yeah. We've talked about pretty much everything.
Yeah.
We've answered pretty much every question we can. So if we're not answering your question.
Yeah, Taylor, that was obviously I liked Ingles last year coming off a good shooting year with solid defense, but he kind of fell off this year, so
Gene Montero just played somewhere where we can actually see him play?
He played in the
I know. That's the joke though. He's went to overtime elite.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, I wanted him and Smart last summer, but yeah. Yeah, no, we're not bringing back Melo.
If you guys have any questions about the channel in the off season, feel free to ask them. Kind of wrap things up with that.
I don't think we're going to offer Miles Bridges because Charlotte's just going to match, and we'd have to renounce all our free agents to do it. Not happening, I don't think.
Yep, agreed.
With the bass, I don't know if my mic has bass or not. I'm not hitting my desk though.
Damn. I'm on Twitter. I should get off Twitter.
Why? What'd you see?
You know who Joe Gibbs is.
Yeah.
His grandson's a NASCAR driver in like their G League series and just got in a fist fight after the race. He's like 19 or something like that. I wasn't expecting to see that on the timeline. Reese asked me about bets for that and asked me about Ty Gibbs, and I forget what it was. Reese, if you could have done a prop bet of him getting in a fist fight, you would have made a lot of money.
Connor asked what our second highest salary outside of Dame is right now. Do you know, Tori, off the top of your head?
Second highest salary outside of Dame is Eric Bledsoe.
Yep, this year.
Yep, but you can go to spottrack.com and find that.
Next year, it's likely going to be Ants.
Connor doesn't know which mic has the bass now.
Who would you like for a backup center?
Jalen Smith would be okay. Hartenstein I would love.
Yeah,
would love.
I think we both agree on Hartenstein there. Man, I don't know if he's going to get the full MLE or not. But if you could get him with that 6.5, or I guess you can't because they don't have his bird rights. So never mind.
Yeah.
You'd have to use the MLB. And that's the same thing with, because we talked about this with Jalen Smith or TJ Warren earlier. But we can't sign and trade for Jalen Smith either because he can only be paid $4.6 million by Indiana in a sign and trade. So, yeah, fortunately, not going to happen.
Can Hartenstein play the 4 at all?
I don't think so. I mean, he probably could for spot minutes,
but I wouldn't. Pretty good foot speed wise.
He's all right, but it kind of lessens his strengths if you play him out of position, in my opinion.
See,
because he can't really shoot.
I mean, he's 11 for 26 on threes this year.
Okay. The biggest Isaiah Hartenstein fan in the world, Reese Cooley, says no, Tori, so I'm going to trust his judgment.
Okay, why, Reese?
On this one thing, but
I'll listen to. I should ask Reese that question. He is
26 3-point attempts in
80
games is going to sway you.
No, not sway me, but like if he can knock down threes, I don't know. I just always remember him being pretty decent foot speed wise defensively. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, it's decent for a center, but if you move him to the 4, I don't think...
well, that was my question. Because I went and looked at his stats, and it's 11 for 26. Yeah, not a large sample, but promising that maybe he could be a good enough shooter on a larger bevy of shots. So that's why I asked. I'm a little bit more open-minded to playing two bigs together than I was last year.
Yeah, I just... One of them has to be... like more closer to a power forward than just playing two centers, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, but like, see, like, did you view Evan Mobley as a power forward this time last year?
100%. I drafted him as a power forward. Remember, because I traded for Wiseman, and I had Mobley at the 4. Yeah, I 100% thought he was a 4.
Okay.
It was a little bit like Chet, where eventually he could be a center, but I drafted him as a power forward, yeah.
But you didn't think Markkanen was a 3.
Well, Markkanen is not a 3. It's still the case. I don't care how it worked out. It wasn't because of Markkanen, because he was not good at the beginning of the season yet.
I haven't paid enough attention to
Mobley and Allen and Garland were so good it made up for it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's almost like having Mobley at the 4 made it so they could play Markkanen at the 3.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, so like P-Town mentions Chet and Hartenstein. So if we had something like that where either one could play the 4, I guess, in that scenario, like positionless basketball or whatever, like that would be okay, I think. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, because Hartenstein's the center there, but Chet's a 4. Oh, I don't think he's a 4 then, Reese, if you have to play a lot of zone to make it work.
Well, I don't know if Hans is still watching, but he thinks we're going to play zone 100% of the time next year. So.
He's trolling. I mean, yeah.
But yeah.
Because that's the thing. If I would have said Markkanen at the 3, even if you're playing Mobley at the 4 and Allen at the 5, I would have said Markkanen at the 3 was a horrible idea and it never would work and he was just going to get torched. And somehow it's been fine. So I don't know. I haven't watched Cleveland really at all. I've barely been paying attention to other teams right now. That's why my picks against the spread record is struggling. But as of the past couple of times. But it's made me open my mind to possibilities that I wouldn't have before. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a little bit of an overcorrection, but... And no, that doesn't mean I want Markkanen playing the 3 for our team. That'd be a disaster. But if you have a good enough 4 and 5, it's almost like you can get away with playing somebody like that at the 3. Because they can just play aggressive on the perimeter, and then you got a good back line. And that's the thing is if
people are bringing up Whiteside. I know you're probably
4. Yes, let's do it.
Messing with us with the Ennis comment, but see, players like that, it's only working with Mobley and Allen because they're so mobile. So you don't want to replicate that with like stiffer, slower centers because that's how it'll be a disaster.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could see a scenario where, you know how we had like Plumlee traded to the Hornets last summer, and I think they got like the 37th pick or something for taking his contract on. So I think there could be a scenario with, if we don't use our TP on Grant, players like Kelly Olynyk, Mason Plumlee for free, or another team letting us move up from 36 to say late first or something to take on a center that could be our backup center. I don't know if that's out of the realm of possibility.
Would you? Dallas has the 26th pick right now. Would you take that for taking on Berton's contract if we didn't have another option with the TP?
Heck yeah. Because that should be Coloco range.
Oh, just because what if Coloco doesn't fall to there?
Yeah, then it's a little. I mean, if like Jovic or someone fell there, yeah.
That contract's so gross, though.
Yeah, but
it's disgusting.
It got traded once.
Yeah, I just feel like if we had it, we'd end up in the tax, and then it'd be like, oh, well, we could have used the $4 on this guy, but since we had Bertans...
Let me put it this way. 100 times out of 100, I'd take that scenario than Jeremy Grant. And I know that's... a lot of people are going to say I'm stupid for that, but...
Yeah. I mean, you do that, and then you trade down 4 for 6 and 13, then you trade down 12 for like 20 and 24, and then you're sitting there with 6, 13, 20, 24, and 26, and 36, and 56.
Well, now we're talking about roster spots being an issue.
Oh, man. Yeah, obviously joking, but...
I would, oh, man. See... if we're good negotiators, we could make them take Bledsoe, right? And they might be a team that would take Bledsoe.
Bledsoe for Bertans and...
Yeah, and then so they get, 1 year deal instead of... how many years does Bertans still have?
Like 4.
3, I think, after this one.
3? Oh, yeah, because last year's not guaranteed. Or lightly guaranteed.
So, yeah. Because then that saves us. I mean, this might not seem significant, but if we cut Bledsoe and don't trade him, we have to pay him like it counts like $3.9 million against our cap. So that saves us from part of Bertans' contract. You can subtract $4 million from that we save from that. But I think 26 might be enough to get Koloko, and if we could somehow manage to get him just for taking on a bad contract, I would like to look at those options rather than overpay and use the 12th pick on a Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather look at any options other than Jeremy Grant, but...
Yeah, well, true, but...
There's not many bad contracts out there, unfortunately. Like, we had them for a while, and now there's not enough anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only one I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but yeah. That's interesting. Another scenario we hadn't thought of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always like those scenarios. I don't know if Portland's daring enough to go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the really bad salaries all have 1 year left, and it's Wall and Westbrook, and
well, that's the thing. If you like wanted, because you brought up Mason Plumlee earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you use part of the Grant TP on him, you still have like $12 million left over, and then maybe there's like a $12 million contract that a team doesn't want. Maybe they're up against the tax or something. I can see the Raptors maybe trying to get off Khem Birch because he's just been injured. He's making almost $7 million, but I think Khem Birch might fit into the Rocco TPE. And maybe you could get second or something like that. Let me look up. I don't know why they signed him to that freaking contract. Didn't make any sense. Yeah, let's see what Birch is making. Oh, Birch is making $6.35 million. So yeah, he fits into the Rocco TPE. So if you... let's see if Toronto has any second-round picks.
They have like the 33rd or something like that.
Yeah, they have the 33rd pick. Like, maybe you could get Birch in 33 and fit Birch into the Rocco TP and make use of that and get an early second. And then you combine 33 with 36 and try and trade up into, like, 28, 27, and then maybe that's Koloko range.
Man, Reese. I'm disappointed in Reese, man.
Why?
Because he just says Khem Birch would be so yucky. But
not if you're getting an early second.
But that completely... I mean, if you don't know Tori and I by now, man, like, we're talking about getting assets for taking on players. We don't care who the player is, right? That's why I said yes to Bertans. It wasn't because I want Davis Bertans on the Blazers. It's because we'd be getting a first-round pick in a range of a player that I really like. So that's the reason you do it. Like the you think the Memphis Grizzlies wanted either Enes Kanter or Mario Hezonja when they made that trade with Boston to take the 30th pick, and that got them Desmond Bane out of it. So that's the kind of move.
We could have had that pick.
Yeah, we could have had that pick. Yep. We should have just traded straight with Boston. But yeah, those are the kind of moves you have to make and get lucky on. Yeah. I mean, if we get 3 firsts somehow, the 2 lottery picks and a late first, and we hit on two or out of those 3, or hit on one as like a star, and then the other 2 are solid like rotation players, that's a game changer in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, Bledsoe for Bertans in 26, maybe give up a future say, I don't know, and then 33 and take Ken Bertrand with the Rocco TPE.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sitting there with 26, 33, and 36 to try and move up into range where you could draft like a Jovic with the 3rd first-round pick. I mean, that's the type of stuff we need to be looking at. We have to manufacture value.
Yeah.
And we have to manufacture assets, and that's how you do it. So that's the thing, is like 33 is David Roddy territory. You can take a flyer on him, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing, is like if you have 33 and 36, you can take a flyer on 2 guys instead of 1. Yeah. It's very unlikely that both of them pan out, but it's more likely that at least one of them pan out. So, if you can get another early 2nd round pick, I think you do it, especially if it's just for Birch, who's injured all the time, but he's still only $6.6 million next year, so 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to play.
Yeah.
And that's also a salary at the trade deadline that you have to attach then,
Yeah, so I don't know what Toronto's cap situation is, but I could see them maybe trying to get off his contract with the 33rd pick if they need the savings.
33 and 36 for like 24 or something. Have 24 and 26 and get both Jovic and Coloca.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a pipe dream. Yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't be a pipe dream compared to what we talked about today, though, at all.
Jabari, Agbaji, Jovic, and Coloco.
See, I just don't think Jovic will fall that far.
I know.
But, Jang, I haven't watched him, but he sounds like a lottery ticket type prospect. Like him at 24 if he falls. Like someone, take a chance on someone. That's the thing. We're going to have to look at prospects in that range, too, in case we trade for a pick in that range, because it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at every prospect in every range, even in the 20s.
That's not that far from 36 to have to look at all those guys in that range, because there's a lot of players that could go, like last year, early 20s to late 40s type range.
Yeah. If we don't take Agbaji, Wendell Moore, I feel like could be a guy who's ready to play right away. I know you're not super high on him, but shot the ball well this year and made plays for others at a pretty good rate for a 6'6" wing. Obviously depends on measurements, but
yeah,
a guy like that. Kamagate, I haven't paid attention to, but I've only seen a couple clips on him, but the clips I saw intrigued me a little bit, so I'm going to watch some footage on him, see what I think. That's the thing, is I don't really know who I'd want in that range if Jovic and Coloco weren't there, but there's going to be some guys that are going to be intriguing, and there's going to be at least one player in the 20s that I think breaks out into at least a legitimate starter, so got to try and get that guy.
Unfortunately, if we did that, Cronin would pull an Olshey and take Walker Kessler.
No, the Olshey move would be taking Trevion Williams at 26.
That's true.
God, I can't believe we took Caleb freaking Swanigan with the 26th pick, dude. How dumb could you be? I was sitting there before the draft like, we better not draft this guy. Even in the 2nd round, I didn't want that guy. His game didn't translate to the modern NBA. Like, 6'8", slow, questionable shooter. Shot the ball well the year before, but form was questionable, stretching it out to NBA 3, couldn't defend, position, like, it just didn't make sense, dude. Like, it's the same reason why I wouldn't draft Drew Timme. And we took him 26 at a pretty loaded draft. That was the worst pick of his career. Like, some people will say Zach Collins, but Zach Collins made sense, like, at the time. Caleb Swanigan, at the time. When we drafted Caleb Swanigan, I was watching with my girlfriend at the time. She got mad at me because I was that pissed off, all right? Let's just say that. I got cussed out Olshey through the TV when we made that pick.
I didn't mind Swanigan. Thought it was an alright pick.
I hated it. Hated it. No 6'8" guys. No undersized bigs with slow feet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand.
Unless they can shoot the 3, and you know they're going to be able to shoot the 3.
Yeah.
So,
I thought some of his skills would be a little better than they were. I thought he had a higher IQ than he showed in the NBA. But, I mean, part of him was, unfortunately, he's just dealt with weight issues his whole life. And for a brief moment when he was in fairly good shape, he was not bad. But yeah. Reese asked my thoughts on Garuba's minutes so far in the NBA. What minutes, man? He's barely played. Like, how am I supposed to judge on what he's done so far? He's been hurt a lot of the year, and yeah. So I didn't understand why they drafted Şengün and Garuba and then signed Daniel Tice. It made no sense, and yeah. I don't know what they're doing, but so it's much like a Bamba situation to me right now. But hopefully they clear that up for him. But
yeah,
I mean that's a guy if they wanted to sell low on, I'd take a flyer on. Random question from Zach: what do you guys think of the idea of allowing each team one contract that would be unrestricted in terms of how much salary you could offer, and it wouldn't count towards the cap?
That would be interesting. But it would be better for the richest owners.
You know, it would be better for whatever teams the stars want to combine to make a super team, because like LeBron's salary wouldn't count for the Lakers, right? And that would give them enough salary to just go sign another star, you know, in his place.
It wouldn't count against the cap?
I think that's what he's saying. He says it would not affect the total team salary cap.
Oh, like let's say you could sign a star for like $70 million, pay them $70 million a year, but their cap hit would be that of their max contract, so like $40 million or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That actually, I don't. Here's the thing, I think it actually might, if it was like that, it might dissuade super teams from forming because players wouldn't be able, you know, like that's the thing is like Anthony Davis could go somewhere and be the number one guy and make like 60 million, maybe, you know, maybe not now, but back, you know, when he wanted to go to the Lakers, he could go somewhere and make $70 million.
Yeah.
But by going to the Lakers, he's capped at like 35, 40.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been saying this for several years. I think the Supermax actually hurts small market teams because a team like Portland or Milwaukee gets rewarded by having their stars stay, right? But those guys might have stayed anyway. I don't think either of those situations were necessarily because we could offer them $5 million more a year or whatever, you know. So I feel like in those situations, the only thing that happens is it takes up more of their salary cap for players that would have stayed anyway. So I'm in favor of making a max salary slot that every team has, every team's max player or super max all make the same amount of money towards the cap. It all counts the same percentage.
Yeah.
And then it's messed up because there was a time where when the cap jumped, I guess it's a little more evened out now since the cap hasn't gone up, mostly because of COVID and stuff. But there was a time where you had players like Klay Thompson on a max deal making like 18 million. Kawhi Leonard, I think, was making 18 million. And then there was other players on max deals like signed like a year or two later that were making like 30 million, right? And it's so unfair to me because that's kind of what led to Golden State having enough money to sign Kevin Durant and stuff. But yeah, it's I think if you sign a max contract, no matter what team you're on, or a super max, it should all count towards the salary cap the same way. I think that would solve a lot of issues.
Yeah. Wait. We haven't had this conversation in a while. You remember back in the day when we always had the conversation about LaMarcus Aldridge coming back to Portland, and then he retired last year, and it was like, oh, well, that's never going to happen, and then he came back this year?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a free agent in the offseason, and he actually hasn't been statistically bad this season.
I mean, if he's willing to be the backup center, I'm fine with it.
But that's what I would try and do, is try and get him to come home on, like, the biannual exception.
Yeah.
Come home, quote unquote.
Yeah, see, I'm still worried. On a team like Brooklyn, he's willing to accept the role. On a team like the Blazers, he still thinks he's the second best player or something.
Yeah, but I mean, he's gonna be 37.
I would ask his mindset. So that if he wants to sign for cheap and be the backup center, he's willing to accept a role like that. I guess that's fine, but that's kind of mellowish to me at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he's. I don't know how he's been defensively this year. Reese probably knows, but he's still efficient. True shooting percentage of 60% this year. Per 36, he's averaging 21 points per game on 60% true shooting this year. Obviously, he's playing next to some really good players, but...
I mean, we know he can score. That's not the problem I've ever had.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're talking about backup center, like, if he wants to come back to Portland, finish his career in Portland or whatever, play with Dame one last time, and you're talking about getting that for your backup center, and you can get that for the biannual exception, like $4 million next year, and not have to use your MLE on that, I mean...
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you have to heavily consider that.
LMA is not a good mentor for anyone.
I mean, you wouldn't bring in LaMarcus Aldridge to mentor anyone. But, like, I don't know. Like, the thing is he could have changed since he left Portland. I mean, he left Portland at 29. Yeah. He's going to be 37. So he's thought his career was over. So he's played 2 years in a row kind of being a role player, not a star.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the idea. I think we need I would take Hartenstein over him any day for the backup center spot.
Yeah.
Just because of the defense impact.
It's just funny because people used to always ask us about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the last time anybody's asked us about that.
Yeah.
And now this is the first time where I'd be like, yeah, maybe. This is the first time where I've actually been open to it and nobody's asked about it. Because I wasn't open to it before. Well, obviously it was under different circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're not bringing him in to be a mentor or anything. Like...
Yeah.
Anyway. What, Trevin? That's a terrible troll job. 25, 46, and what for Colin Zakis?
3?
He has 46 rebounds, huh? 4 and 6. No, he had... Oh, look at my guy, bruh! Look at Colin Zakis, man. 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 10 for 19 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. I'm telling you, he's the best player in the freaking league. Anyway, Jalen Horde, 27 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists. Almost as good.
Oh, but look at Jeremy Grant's numbers, dude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Give me Kalitzakis over Jeremy Grant any day. Kalitzakis is my favorite non-Blazer. I tweeted that out, and a lot of people didn't get it. I thought a lot of people knew this by now, that I was a huge Georgios Kalitzakis fan, but...
Do you think the Blazers do a GM search?
No.
I don't think so either.
They got Melvin Frazier playing? I thought he was out of the league. Well, he was out of the league. Huh.
What the heck, Zach? It just, like, the guy literally almost pooped himself, and you're going to poop on him tonight? Man, that's not a good look, dude.
It's time to end the stream. If
he got sick. He got sick, man. All right, real quick. Chief and ask, would you trade Ant for Drew Holiday?
Depends on what the rest of the team looks like. Straight up right now, with nothing else, no. If we had, like, offensive star power at the 3 and 4, yes. In between that, because obviously we need to figure it out defensively, and obviously that would be that would go a long ways to doing that. So, but Milwaukee doesn't do it. But hypothetically, if they would be willing to, depends on who you have at the 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think Drew's starting to regress a little bit. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I understand. Once again, just like the other trades we discussed, why people would do it, but yeah, Zach. See, he left the game after a few minutes with a non-COVID illness, which to me could only mean he was either throwing up or had the run. So that's what. Yeah. Or both. But yeah, I just think he's looking a little bit slower than he has in the past. I mean, that just might be eye test. I don't know if analytics match that or whatever, but
yep. Anyway, if you have any questions about our schedule the next week, the channel, what our plans are as we transition into the off-season mode, let me know. If not, we're gonna kind of wrap things up here.
Yeah.
I'll give people, a little bit of time to ask anything regarding that. Done asking basketball questions.
Catch us Sunday.
Yep.
On the other stream, on the other channel.
Uprise Live, link in description. Go subscribe. Only a third of y'all are subscribed to that, so go subscribe to it.
So 2 streams Sunday. We'll have the stream in the middle of the day for picks against the spread. On the last day, also if you want to vote on the games before we go live, do a go on Twitter and look up. I'm sure Tori will post a poll for those.
Yep.
And then also after the game on Sunday, we'll have another stream, and then our next stream after that will be after the Pelicans versus Spurs play-in game on Wednesday.
Yep. And then the next stream after that, we'll let you know on Wednesday. When is the mock off season? The mock off season is tentatively scheduled for, what's the day here? Selecting your teams on May 18th, the day after the draft lottery. That's when I have it tentatively scheduled. Tentatively. Tentacles, yes. May 18th. So I'll just list off all the start days that I have tentatively scheduled. Selection date, selecting your teams, May 18th. We'll obviously have a live stream for that. Start date, when you can start making moves, May 21st. That's a Saturday, so I'm thinking Saturday evening. We could maybe even do it Friday, but how much time do you want in between the selection date and the start date, Eric? Like 2 days, 3 days?
If we're doing it after the lottery, I don't think there should be anytime.
Okay. I thought we needed time to, set up the... Well, we could set up the sheets before and then just...
Yeah, everything could be set up and then just add the name.
Yeah, I mean... I like giving people a little bit of time to get a feel for what they want to do before they start. People are making trades, I need to make something happen.
No, all that happens is people start talking about trades before they should. And
do they do that? Is that what happened last year?
Yeah, because we waited till after the lottery. If we're waiting till after the lottery... Because we picked the teams a week beforehand, and then we waited for the lottery.
Well, if we're doing it if we're starting it right after the stream, then maybe I'll do the stream on May 20th, like a couple days after the lottery, because I liked making it where the first night was on a weekend night, where people maybe had time to, a little bit more time to participate. Do you agree with that?
I don't think it matters to most people because we have so many people all over the world. That's
well, that's why I was thinking weekend. Yeah, but where people didn't have to deal with work and whatnot. But sometime like right after the draft lottery is when we'll start it. I want to have like 7-8 days in between the start of it and the draft. I think in the past we've done 10, 11, 12 days. I think shortening it up slightly would be best. And then free agency want to start like 5 days after the draft. Normally we've taken longer and kind of let it die out. So based on how it's ebbed and flowed in the past, I've tried to come up with a schedule that worked best. But start date tentatively right now would be May 18th, and then wrap up date would be June 8th. Draft date would be May 28th. Free agency date like June 1st, June 2nd. Does that sound good to you, Eric?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can talk about specifics later.
Yep. But any other channel questions? Because I'm not answering any.
No, all those, pretty much everything after Sunday night will all be on the secondary channel weeks.
Yep.
Except for the big streams like the draft lottery, the actual draft, the mock-off season draft, and free agency.
Yep. Chat is in the lead in picks against the spread. I don't know by how many games, but I freaking sucked on Thursday.
I think I went over.
I didn't go over.
I think I did.
Oh, I thought you said I did. I just lost my earbud off the headphones I was playing with. You went over. That sucks. I got one game, I think.
Link is in the description. It's Blazers Uprise Live.
Yep.
Yeah, Connor's probably happy about it.
Yep. So, if you want to join in on the action Sunday, Blazers Uprise Live second channel. And then, I'll drop a off-season video talking about all the videos I'm dropping. I'll drop that on the 11th or the 12th. I need to schedule it. I'll probably do it for the 11th. I just had something planned that I decided not to do on the 11th, so... Anyway, other than that, that's pretty much it, I think. Anything else?
No, thanks to everyone for watching. Hope you all have a good night.
Yep, thank you for tuning in with us, despite this team, being a travesty for all the right reasons, but a travesty nonetheless, losing by 50 tonight. We are the best losers in the league right now. Too bad we don't have the best odds, but sixth place odds are pretty much locked in now. The only other way we couldn't get sixth best odds is if Indiana won their last two games and the Blazers won their last game on Sunday, then it would be a tie for fifth. So you're probably looking at 37% chance of the top four and a 9% chance at the number one overall pick. Obviously now we turn our attention to the playing games with New Orleans and hope that they don't play their way into the playoffs. That would be a terrible scenario for Portland because we need that draft pick. But we'll have you covered throughout the offseason. Things aren't going to slow down. Things are going to pick up video-wise in the offseason. A few less streams, but we'll still be live twice a week during the offseason. Anyway.
I just did a tankathon sim as I was about to close down the page. We moved up to first, but New Orleans moved up to third with our second pick. So we got first, but didn't get New Orleans pick.
I said I was going to do a sim to end things off the right way, Eric. This is how it's really done. All right. Okay. You got Charlotte at 14, Atlanta at 13. Never mind. New York at 12, Washington at 11, San Antonio at 10, Sacramento at 9, Portland at 8. Oh my freaking God. You got New Orleans at 2 and 3. They're at 2 and 3. They get Ivy and Chet or Jabari, probably.
Awesome. If you're New Orleans, do you take Ivy at 2 or 3?
Yeah, which one do you want to pay a little bit more? I'm going to end this off right,
You
bro.
are not having very good luck right now.
I mean, 2-12. I mean, multiple 6-12s in a row.
Zach, you buy a plate to eat it? That doesn't make sense.
What? There you go, Eric. I told you I was going to end things off right. Anyway, that's the final.
It took you like 800 tries.
Nope.
1-12. Let's go.
Anyway, yeah, we'll have lottery stream on May 17th. Because people always come in every stream and ask, are you doing a stream for the draft lottery? So I guess I'll keep saying it. Yes, we are doing a stream for the draft lottery right here on the main channel. Anyway, anything else? Back on tap, Eric.
Have a good day.
Catch you later. Have a good rest of your weekend. We'll catch you on Sunday with 2 streams. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.